Hi guys, and welcome to today's lesson. We have some more review on 9.1 and 9.2. So to start, our first problems here say find the equation of the axis of symmetry, use x equals negative b over 2a, find the coordinates of the vertex. So right, we have to remember what our a, our b, and our c is, right? Ax squared plus bx plus c. So in this case, notice our first problem, we do not have a b. Our b, in fact, is 0. So it's x equals negative b over 2a. Right? 0 divided by anything is 0. So that tells us where our axis of symmetry is. And now we're going to use that x value to find our vertex. So we're going to plug back into our original. 2 times 0 squared is 0. Then we have 0 minus 4, which would get us negative 4. We have now found our vertex. So first example there. Right, we're going to do the same thing for these next ones. If you feel the need that you need to pause at any time, please feel free to do so, and then catch back up when you're ready to go. So next problem here, x equals negative b over 2a. Right, be careful of those negatives. So we have negative 8 over negative 4, which give us positive 2. Now we're going to plug positive 2 back in. To find our vertex. So 2 squared is 4. 4 times negative 2 is negative 8. 8 times 2 is 16 minus 7. So we have really 16 minus 15, which would give us a positive 1. And the last one down here. So we start with x equals negative, and now we just got to be careful here, right? We have negative 6 over 2, and notice our a, even though it's not written there, we know that our a is 1. So this is 6 over 2, or an answer of 3. So our axis of symmetry is at 3. We're going to plug it back in to find our vertex. So 3 squared minus 6 times 3 plus 5. We get 9 minus 18 plus 5. So really we have 14 minus 18, so we should get a negative 4. So that's how you find axis of symmetry and vertex. We're actually going to use that quite a bit for our review here today. You got to do this for almost every problem we do. So it's good practice to do these because we're going to do it for every other problem. Again, feel free to pause if you need to. I'm going to move forward. So looking at this one, we again take this equation here, y equals 2x squared minus 18. Notice it wants us to label vertex axis of symmetry. Well, we have to find those first. So I'm going to do x equals negative b. Well, right, in this case, we don't have a b over 2a. Right, 0 divided by anything is 0. So our axis of symmetry is this line, x equals 0. We now plug that back into our original equation. Sorry, bad 0 there. 0 squared minus 18. And we get negative 18 as our answer. So this point, this vertex here is at 0, negative 18. And now our last question is to find the solutions. When you're looking at a graph, what it's really asking us is where does it cross our x-intercept? Where does it cross our x-intercept? Where is y equal to 0? That's what it's wanting to get at. So we look to see, okay, where does it cross? Well, it crosses here and here, right? This point is at 3, 0. This point's at negative 3, 0. So when it asks for our solutions, we just give the x values. So in this case, it'd be 3 and negative 3. 3 and negative 3. So that's going a little one step further than what you're just doing. We had to find both vertex, axis of symmetry. In fact, we had to then label it and then find our solutions. So next two examples, we are actually going to graph them and then do what we just did. So we're going to kind of combine everything we've done now as well as graphing. So our first example here, y is equal to x squared plus 6x plus 8. So we go x is equal to negative b over 2a, gives us negative 6 over 2, or gives us negative 3. So what we need to do is we need to have 2 above it, 2 below it. So write 2 above it, 2 below it. Now I want to find my vertex. I know my axis of symmetry is that x equals negative 3. So x equals negative 3, I know it's going to be symmetrical on both sides of this line right here. What I need to do is find where's this vertex at. So I'm going to plug it back into my original here. Plus 6 times negative 3 plus 8. So if we have negative 3 squared, we get 9 minus 18. So now we're at negative 9 plus 8. That gets us to negative 1. So our vertex is right here at 3, negative 1. Now what we need to do, we need to either do the 2 above it or 2 below it. In this case, I'm going to do negative 2 and negative 1. I think those are easier to plug in. So I'm going to take negative 2 squared plus 6 times negative 2 plus 8. Negative 2 squared is 4. 6 times negative 2 is negative 12. So 4 minus 12, we're at negative 8. Plus 8 gives us 0. So this is saying at negative 2, we are at 0. At negative 2, we are at 0. And now we're going to plug in negative 1. Negative 1 squared plus 6 times negative 1 plus 8. Negative 1 squared is 1. 6 times negative 1 is negative 6. Plus 8. So really we have 9 minus 6, which would give us 3. So this is saying at negative 1, we should be at 1, 2, 3. And now it's called an axis of symmetry for a reason. It's saying it's symmetrical on either side. So at negative 4, it should be at the same spot that negative 2 is at. So it's symmetrical. And then same with negative 1 and negative 5. So we have our graph here. Right, here's our parabola shape, right, our U-shaped graph. And then this has one last question. We just did this on the last page. What are our solutions? Well, what's nice is we already found those, right? Where does it cross this line? Well, it's at these 2 points, negative 2 and negative 4. Negative 2 and negative 4. So we have one more example like this. Feel free to pause the video if you need to. I am going to go through this next example, but it's going to be a problem just like this one, just a new function there. So again, feel free to pause, try this one out first. So we start x is equal to negative b over 2a. Be careful of all those negatives there. So negative negative 4 is positive 4. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2, which gives us negative 2. So now I need 2 above it, 2 below it. And now I need to plug back in negative 2 because I know my axis of symmetry is this line right here. I need to plug it in to find my vertex. So negative 2 squared minus 4 times negative 2 minus 3. Negative 2 squared is 4, but then we have a negative out in front. So this is really negative 4, so be careful there. Negative 4 times negative 2 would be positive 8 minus 3. So we really have 8 minus 7, which would get us positive 1. So at negative 2, we are at positive 1. So again, now we got to choose either side to find those values. I'm going to try negative 1 and 0. I think those are easier to plug in. So negative 1 squared minus 4 times negative 1 minus 3. Negative 1 squared is positive 1 with a negative out in front, so it's really negative 1. Negative 4 times negative 1 gives us positive 4 minus 3. Well, that's 4 minus 4, which would give us 0. So this is saying at -1, we should be at the point 0. And last one here, right? Love plugging in 0, makes our life pretty easy here, actually. Right, 0 squared, 0 times anything is 0, 0 times -4 would still be 0, and then we just have -3 for an answer of -3. So now at 0, it's saying we should be at -3. And again, like we talked about last time, axis of symmetry, it's named that for a reason because it's symmetrical on both sides. So at -3, we should be at 0, and at -4, we should be at -3. And now we have our parabola. Again, notice negative out in front in our A makes our frown upside down. Right, our graph is upside down there. So our last piece here is now what are our solutions? So we check to see where does it cross our x-axis. It crosses it twice at the points, the -1 and -3. So that is it for today's review on 9.1 and 9.2.